In last class, we have studied asexual reproduction in lower organisms like algae and fungi, vegetative propagation in higher plants, mainly the angiosperms. Now, today we shall study the sexual reproduction. Definition of sexual reproduction we have already seen. Sexual reproduction means it is a type of reproduction which involves one or two parents and produce the gametes. Gametes on fertilization produce zygote. Zygote develops into new individuals. Okay. Now we shall discuss about sexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction involves one or two parents. One parent means when the organism is hermaphrodite. In lower organisms we call hermaphrodite. In some algae we call homothalic, which produces both the male and female gametes, one parent, or involves two parents. In higher organisms, two parents are involved. It means sexual reproduction may involve one parent or two parents. The male parent produces the male gamete, what we call the sperm. Sometimes in lower organisms we call it as antherozoid. Antherozoid. The female gamete called the egg or ovum. Male parent produce male gamete. The female parent produce female gametes, which fuse together during fertilization and form diploid zygote. The zygote later on develops into an individual. Okay. Next, the sexual reproduction is highly a complex process. It is a lengthy process and slow process when compared to asexual. Sexual reproduction is highly complex means it involves the formation of gametes. After formation, the gametes must fuse together. Fertilization must take place. Then the zygote formed. Zygote develops into new plant. That is why it is a slow process. Sexual reproduction is highly complex, lengthy process and also slow process. If we compare with that of asexual one. Okay. Another important point. During sexual reproduction, when the fusion of male and female gametes takes place, the offspring are formed. The offsprings are not identical. Identical means they are not similar to their parents. Not only to their parents, it means they won't resemble the parent. That's very important point. And not only that one, among the offspring, they are also not resembling each other. Means we come across the differences in the offsprings. We call some differences. Okay. This is the difference between asexual and sexual reproduction. Now, how the sexual reproduction process takes place. It may be studied under the heading Phases of Life Cycle. Coming to the phases of life cycle, there are three phases, namely juvenile phase or vegetative phase. Second, reproductive phase. And third, senescent phase. Sometimes we call senescence. Juvenile phase, or it's also called vegetative phase. What is juvenile phase? The term juvenile is used in animals. Okay. But in plants, instead of juvenile, we use the term vegetative phase or vegetative stage. What is this juvenile or vegetative phase? The period of growth in organisms is called juvenile phase. It means you may not understand this. Look here now. When a boy or girl when he completes 13 or 14 years, that is 1 to 14, we call juvenile phase. Before the reproductive phase. If you consider the same in plants, you take mango, you take marigold. See, mango, in the beginning, it grows and produces leaves and branches up to 7 or 8 years. This phase we call it as vegetative phase. See, in case of marigold, Chenduvudalli, it is only 1.5 or 2 months. In coconut plants, it may be some 6 or 7 years. In wheat plant, few months, 2 to 3 months. So during this phase, the seed germinate and form seedling grows, develop and produce branches, the leaves. We call vegetative phase. See, if we examine the vegetative phase in different plants like marigold, rice, wheat, mango, coconut, it varies. It differs. For example, marigold vegetative phase is only 1.5 or 2 months. In mango, it is 5 to 6 years. In coconut, it may be 6 to 7 years. That is, vegetative period varies. Okay. There is clear-cut differentiation of vegetative phase and reproductive phase may be observed in annuals and biennials. Annual means the plant which completes its life cycle in one season or 1 year. Say for example, a rice plant, a marigold, a sunflower plant. First grows vegetatively, then produce the flower, what we call the reproductive phase. In case of biennials, some plants require 2 seasons to complete the life cycle. We call biennials. In the first season or first year, grows vegetatively. And in the second season or in the second year, produce the flowers. That is the reproductive phase. So we come across clear-cut vegetative phase and reproductive phase in annuals and biennials. What about in perennials? Perennials means the plants which live more than 50 or 100 years or more. In such plants, there is no clear-cut differentiation. You must use the term, what is that? Instead of clear-cut, there is no demarcation between the vegetative phase and reproductive phase. We can't distinguish the vegetative phase from that of reproductive phase. What is the reason? Look here. These plants, for example, mango, a tamarind tree, a coconut tree, it produces the branches, the leaves every year. It is nothing but the vegetative growth. Then it produces what is known as the flowers, the reproductive phase. So both vegetative phase and reproductive phase are there in 1 year. That is why it is very difficult to distinguish the vegetative phase and the reproductive phase in perennials, because they flower year after year. So that is what we call juvenile period or vegetative period. Next, the reproductive phase. After the completion of vegetative phase or juvenile phase, the organism, the plant or animal, enter into a reproductive phase. Like vegetative phase, the duration of reproductive phase also varies in different organisms. Look, you might have seen in nature the flowering time in different plants varies. See, sunflower may produce flower at one time, the mango plant produce flowers at one time, the jackfruit plant produce flowers at one time, the coconut plant produce flower at one time. The flowering time also varies in different plants. But it is seasonal. It means though the flowering time varies, it is seasonal. ಇದನ್ನು ನೋಡಿಕೊಂಡೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಪೂರ್ವಜರು ಯಾವ್ಯಾವ ಟೈಮ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ್ಯಾವ ಬೆಳೆಯನ್ನು ಬೆಳಿಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತು ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಮುಂಗಾರು ಬೆಳೆ ಯಾವುದು, ಹಿಂಗಾರು ಬೆಳೆ ಯಾವುದು, ಯಾವಾಗ ಬೆಳಿಬೇಕು, ಯಾವಾಗ ಬಿತ್ತಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನು ನೋಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. Look here now. Some plants produce flowers and fruits year after year. Say for example, a mango tree, a coconut tree, a tamarind tree, a jackfruit tree, which produce the flowers every year and followed by flowering fruits are also formed. It means first produce flowers, then fruits are formed every year, that is year after year. Such plants are called polycarpic. Poly means many. In the life cycle of a mango plant, many times it produces the flowers and fruits. Polycarpic plant. A very important point for NEET or CET examination. See, in some plants, we may notice the plants produce flowers only once in their lifetime and fruits. Some plants produce flowers and fruits only once in their lifetime or life cycle. Such plants are called monocarpic plant. Very good. Common example is bamboo. Bamboo means ಬಿದಿರು. ಬನಾನಾ ಈವನ್ ನೋಡಿ, ಬನಾನಾ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಅದು 2 to 3 years ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಬದುಕಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಒಂದೇ ಸಾರಿ ಹೂವು, ಒಂದೇ ಸಾರಿ ಹಣ್ಣನ್ನು ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. See, bamboo plant or the species of bamboo, you can say, shows unusual flowering. What is the meaning of this unusual flowering? It flowers after 50 to 100 years of vegetative phase. 100 ವರ್ಷ ಆದಮೇಲೆ ಹೂವು ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. ಅಂದರೆ ಅಲ್ಲೇವರೆಗೂ ವೆಜಿಟೇಟಿವ್ ಫೇಜೇ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಸಿ, Vegetative phase, many years in this plant. Bamboo produces flowers once in 50 or 100 years. A very important point for NEET or CET examination. See, if we examine carefully in nature, the fruit production is also seasonal. Say, for example, mango season. Now, April and May, June, mango season ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ ನಾವು. Apples are produced in one season. The jackfruits are produced in another season. It means even the fruit production is also seasonal. I will sum up. See, flowering in plants is also seasonal. Even the fruit production is also seasonal. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ, ಈಗ ಮ್ಯಾಂಗೋ ಸೀಸನ್ನು ಮ್ಯಾಂಗೋ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ, ಕಿತ್ತಳೆ ಹಣ್ಣಿನ ಸೀಸನ್ನು ಕಿತ್ತಳೆ ಹಣ್ಣು ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ, ಜಾಕ್ ಫ್ರೂಟ್ ಸೀಸನ್ನು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ ನಾವು. ಓಕೆ, reproductive phase. Then, one plant is there by name Strobilanthus kuntiana. What is the name? Strobilanthus kuntiana, the scientific name of Neelakuranji. The common name is called Neelakuranji. Scientific name Strobilanthus kuntiana. This plant also shows unusual flowering. It flowers once in 12 years. Look here. The bamboo flowers only once in lifetime, after 50 to 100 years. But this plant flowers once in 12 years. 12 ವರ್ಷಕ್ಕೆ ಒಂದ್ಸತೆ ಹೂವು ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಫ್ಲವರಿಂಗ್ ಆಗಿರೋದು ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಸೆಪ್ಟೆಂಬರ್ ಅಕ್ಟೋಬರ್ 2006 ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ದಿಸ್ ಈಸ್ ಅಕಾರ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಅವರ್ ಟೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಬುಕ್ಸ್. This plant, Strobilanthus kuntiana, commonly found growing at hilly region of Karnataka, that is the Western Ghats, Tamil Nadu and Kerala. The flowers of this plant are blue in color, hence the name Neelakuranji. Flowers are blue in color. When it flowers, the whole hill range of Karnataka, Tamil Nadu and Kerala appear blue color. ಈ ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ ಫ್ಲವರಿಂಗ್ ಆದಾಗ ಟೂರಿಸ್ಟನ್ನು ಸಹ ಅಟ್ರಾಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಅಪಿಯರ್ಸ್ ಸೋ ಬ್ಯೂಟಿಫುಲ್. ಹೋಲ್ the hilly range appears blue color. Okay, a very important point for NEET or CET or main examination. Okay, now we have discussed the vegetative period of plants like annuals, biennials and in perennials. Now we shall see the animals. What about in case of animals? In animals, what we call the juvenile period, the juvenile phase or the stage. In animals, you take yourself as an example. After completion of juvenile phase, many physiological changes takes place in the body of an animal, followed by the morphological changes before the reproductive phase. Okay, it means after completion of the juvenile phase, when an animal enters into the reproductive phase, many more physiological changes takes place. Say for example, take yourself, what are the physiological changes takes place? In case of female or in girls, the ovaries start to produce the female hormone, estrogen, progesterone. In case of male, that is in boys, you can say androgen hormone is produced. The physiological changes take place in the body. Because of these physiological changes, morphological changes also occurs. Say, the development of breast in females, the appearance of mustaches and beard in males, are the morphological changes. ನಿಮ್ಮ ರಿಲೇಟಿವ್ಸು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ಎಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಬದಲಾವಣೆ ಆಗಿದೆಯಪ್ಪ, ನಿನ್ನ ಗೊತ್ತಿಡಿಯೋಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ. ಮೊದಲು ಹೇಗಿದ್ದೆ? ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಆಲ್ ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಆಫ್ physiological changes followed by the morphological changes. Okay. In animals, like plants, the reproductive period also varies in different species. ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಅನಿಮಲ್ಸು ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಥರ reproductive periods ಇದೆ. Say, for example, birds living in nature lay the eggs seasonally. In seasons, they lay the eggs. But birds in the captivity means ನಾವು ಸಾಕ್ತೀವಿ ಕೋಳಿಗಳು ಅದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ. We made them to lay the eggs throughout the year. ನಾವು ಮೊಟ್ಟೆ ಹಾಕಾಗಿ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ by using hormones. But the birds which are living in nature, they lay the eggs seasonally. Okay, very important. What about in case of frogs? Frogs means amphibians, lizards, when they lay the eggs. Okay, carefully study. Next, the most important point is that in the life cycle of animals, especially in mammals, see, there is classification of mammals. Okay, that is non-primate and primate mammals. You know that one. Menstrual cycle. What is menstrual cycle? The cyclical changes that occur in ovaries, accessory ducts, and hormone secretion during the reproductive phase of primate mammals is called menstrual cycle. What you call monthly cycle in brief. Even in case of human beings, we come across in females. The cyclical changes that occur in ovaries. Many changes occurs in the ovaries during the menstrual cycle. The female hormones are secreted in the ovaries of mammals. Because of this reason, menstrual cycle occurs. When a girl reaches 14 years or 15 years of age, menstrual cycle begins. It means start to produce the female gamete, egg or the ova. The menstrual cycle is exhibited by primate mammals. Example, menstrual cycle is found in case of human beings, that is in human females. What we call girls ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ತಪ್ಪೇನಿಲ್ಲ. Girls, apes, even monkeys. We come across menstrual cycle. Next, estrus cycle. See, if we examine some animals like cow, tiger, rat, sheep, dog, deer, etc., we come across another type of cycle called estrus cycle. ನಾವು ಇದನ್ನು menstrual cycle ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಲ್ಲ. There is a difference between estrus cycle and menstrual cycle. What is estrus cycle? Cyclical changes that occur in the ovaries and accessory ducts. Hormone secretion during reproductive stage of non-primate mammals. Very important point is non-primate mammals is called estrus cycle. Example for the estrus cycle: cow, tiger, rat, sheep, buffalo, dog, deer, etc. You can make out the difference between menstrual cycle and estrus cycle. Menstrual cycle and estrus cycle very important for 1 and 2 marks. The differences also very, very important one. Okay. Next, if you examine the animals in nature, some animals breed. Breed means produce young one. In some season, we call seasonal breeders. So what are seasonal breeders? The mammals living in natural wild conditions reproduce in favorable seasons are called seasonal breeders. A deer, good example. A dog. ನಾವು ನೋಡ್ತೀವಿ ಡಾಗು ಮತ್ತು ಡೀರು, ಟೈಗರ್ಗಳು ಮರಿ ಹಾಕ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು. ರ್ಯಾಟ್ ವರ್ಷಕ್ಕೆ 2 ಸತೆ 3 ಸತೆ ಹಾಕುತ್ತೆ ಮರಿಗಳು. ಇದು ಗೊತ್ತಾಯ್ತಾ? ದ ಎಕ್ಸಿಬಿಟ್ ಈಸ್ಟ್ರಸ್ ಸೈಕಲ್. ಹೀಟ್ ಪೀರಿಯಡ್ ಆದಾಗ ಅವು ರಿಪ್ರೊಡಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಸ್ಟೇಜಿಗೆ ಬಂದಿರ್ತವೆ. ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂಯಸ್ ಬ್ರೀಡರ್ಸ್, ದಿ ಮ್ಯಾಮಲ್ಸ್ ವಿಚ್ ಆರ್ reproductively active throughout their reproductive phase. See, some of the mammals which reproductively active means reproduce throughout the reproductive phase. Example, human beings, continuous breeders. Very good example for continuous breeders, human beings. That is why ನಾವು ಎಲ್ಲ ಮಂತ್ಗಳಲ್ಲೂ ಹುಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಬರ್ತ್ ಡೇಟ್ಸ್ ನೋಡಿ, ಜನವರಿ ಟು ಡಿಸೆಂಬರ್ ಇದ್ದೇ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂಯಸ್ ಬ್ರೀಡರ್ಸ್. ಓಕೆ, ದಟ್ಸ್ ಆಲ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ಸೀಸನಲ್ ಬ್ರೀಡರ್ಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂಯಸ್ ಬ್ರೀಡರ್ಸ್ ಫಾರ್ 1 mark and 2 marks. Next, the third phase, what you call senescent phase or the reproductive phase. What is senescent phase? The end of reproductive phase is called senescent phase. First, juvenile phase. Second, reproductive phase. Third phase is senescent phase or old age. During old age, if we examine, the rate of metabolic activity decreases or it goes slow down. All the metabolic activities go slow down. This is the indication of aging. ವಯಸ್ಸಾಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಸೇ ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್, ಕಾಮನ್ ಆಗಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ತಾತ ಮೊಮ್ಮಗ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರೆ, ನೀನಂತೂ ಹುಡುಗಪ್ಪ ಜೋರಾಗಿ ಹೋಗ್ತೀಯ, ನೀನು ಚಿಕ್ಕನು, ನನ್ನ ಕೈಲಿ ಆಗಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಾರೆ. ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಏಜ್, ಓಲ್ಡ್ ಏಜ್. ಮೆಟಬಾಲಿಕಲಿ ದ ಸೆಲ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಓಲ್ಡ್. Okay, this is the reason. Next, in both plants and animal life cycles, hormones are mainly responsible for the phases. For the 3 phases, ಏನೇನು? ಹಾರ್ಮೋನ್ಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್. ಏಜ್ ಆದಂಗೆಲ್ಲ ಹಾರ್ಮೋನ್ ಸೆಕ್ರೀಷನ್ನು ಸಹ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೆಲ್ಸ್ ದೆ ಗೆಟ್ ಏಜ್ಡ್. ಸೊ ದಟ್ಸ್ ಆಲ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ senescent phase. Okay, explain 3 phases for 3 marks. Make it brief. Okay, that's all about this topic. Thank you.